Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash, the one of the elder apostles, the great millstone of Rowell, and Shalom to all the brothers who wax serving truth. Yeah, you've more or less had since Trump came in, the geopolitical situation realigning, uh, essentially, and it's all according to prophecy. Because a key kind of thing you've had is the schism between uh, Europe, fuck, between Europe and the US, and contention around NATO, America's place in NATO, and military spending, and that all ties into the end game of America, where you're gonna have those places that were formerly allies, where they were previously under the wing of America, they're gonna flip on it. Then you also have, the focal point of what's gonna, draw all these nations in, being, the least of the flocked, the state of Israel, and then Iran. And you had what was it? Syria flipped from Assad a few months back. But it sounds like the what do you call it, the Russian bases that were over there are still there. So, and it's coming out all of a sudden, the the group that was being supported by by the US, they're they're getting busy of now it's coming out that they weren't as kosher as they thought they were previously. So and because of that, it's the whole Syria being flipped may not be as significant as they think. And really, the key focus is Iran, and the main draw that's kind of got the US interested, and state Israel is the nuclear program. So it's on Yahoo Finance. It's from Bloomberg. It says China and Russia unite behind Iran in challenge to Trump's plans. It says China and Russia joined Iran in denouncing US sanctions and backed efforts to restore a landmark nuclear deal with Tehran that President Trump abandoned in his first term and now wants to replace. So yeah, the Iranian nuclear program has come back as the focal point again. Which with that being focus, that's you can easily see everyone's talking about Ukraine, but now it's all talk about what do you call it, peace being made, even if it's temporary, if it's not, who gives a fuck. Um, when it goes to prophecy, the focal point is the Middle East. So it says, and the backing coming from Russia and China shouldn't be a mystery, because as I say, the three countries, all sanctioned by the US to varying degrees, stress the need to end unilateral restrictions and urge resumption of international talks of Iran's nuclear atomic activities at a meeting in Beijing on Friday, according to the joint statement. Russia and China were key participants in the Obama-era agreement that restricted Iran's nuclear activity in exchange for sanctions relief. Before Trump's withdrawal in 2018, the US had long been concerned Iran is capable of building a nuclear weapon if it chooses to do so. And yeah, so I was watching like a YouTube video talking about the different countries that have the bomb. And I think other than like 4 or 5, well, outside of the main ones, UK, other than like the European nations, Russia, China, and the US, like most of the other countries have they might have started programs, or they might have just said they were what do you call it, researching atomic energy, and then not really revealed the fullness of their their arsenals, their ability to make it or not. So it shouldn't really be a surprise that Iran started a nuclear program, and then since then has pushed forward with with nuclear missiles. It shouldn't really be a shock to anyone, um, because I think even by the the official numbers are given the atomic agency. I can't remember the UN atomic agency. I can't remember the exact term. They would have had the ability to make missiles a while back, and that's just what and the whole point of the deal crumbling was them not letting people look in fully and see the fullness of their operations. So you know everyone's going to be operating under the assumption these guys have nukes, even if they're untested. uh and they likely do, because says what building nuke if it chooses to do so, something Iranian officials have denied, saying the work is for civilian purposes. As the standoff drags on, Iran has expanded its stocks of a near bomb grade enriched uranium, while Washington has toughened its sanctions. China's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Ma Zhaozhu um, hosted Friday's meeting, which was also attended by Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov and Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi. A separate minister included no a separate meeting included Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Political and diplomatic engagement and dialogue based on the principle of mutual respect remains the only viable and practical option, Ma told reporters after the meeting. Last week, Trump reiterated his interest in striking a new nuclear deal with Iran and warned the only alternative for the Islamic Republic was to face military action. Yeah, so, war. And these things, that's a big contention of what's drawing the focal point there. And it's really around the other prophecies as well, with the mark, the key one really. These are all being pushed out. That's where you can see an acceleration in building up them circumstances, man. The Beijing gathering follows a flurry of diplomatic activity on Iran's nuclear program as world powers try to evade another crisis, a time when wars in the Middle East and Ukraine are posing risks to energy prices and the global economy. Yeah, the global economy's fucked. Says William Figueroa, assistant professor at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, who studies China and the Middle East, described the meeting as diplomatic maneuvering. It's a strong rejection of Trump's position with the support of allies, he said, adding that this position didn't represent a shift in policy. Iran had already had at least 2 rounds of preliminary nuclear talks with diplomats from the UK, France, and Germany in Geneva in recent months. Trump also wrote a letter addressed to the Iranian leadership, which was received in Tehran on Wednesday via a top official from the UAE. So yeah, it's again, attention's being drawn there. Everything's the focus being drawn back to the Middle East. And, a big part of that is, for the what do you call it? Yeah, Trump say about the Gaza Strip being developed basically, into a paradise, and that's gonna require shifting off a bunch of what do you call it, man? A bunch of those Palestinians into other countries, and these are the things that cause big contentions between these nations. So it's the pieces are there, and it's like this kind of nuclear deal wherever it goes. And Trump being considering, like I said, Trump was the one that basically killed off the deal before, the one that got made with Obama. And then I think the whole time he was in, he weren't trying to hear that. And then I think by the time it got towards the end of his term was when it was coming out like, yeah, they've basically been enriching at a higher rate than they would have needed for civilian use. That was even revealed. And they said, yeah, they would have accrued, even at the rate they were going previously, they would have accrued enough to start making weapons. So, you know, that focal point it's everything's gonna start shifting towards it. Because why? It's prophecy. I still have, Ukraine and Europe conflicts. Europe invested in that conflict, but then it's still Middle East is where it's at. Ezekiel 38:2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with armor, and even a great company, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So yeah, that spirit of being what's it called? Of being turned back, the hooks in the jaw. That's been evident, and really the signifier that has been Putin. He is essentially the embodiment of it, and that's why it's like conquest wise, that whole mindset is basically tied to Putin. And what does it say? Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Persia, the key one, Iran. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgamar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that were assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Yeah, be thou a guard unto them. And that's a big part of how the whole setup is. Iran's providing support and aid in the Ukraine conflict. They're the ones that were linking up, giving the drones to Russia, and those drones, I believe there was what was it, 2012, 2011, maybe 2013, like ages ago, where you had like US drone like crash land in Iran, and then off the back of that, in Iran, that damn, and off the back of that, you know, they reverse engineered that technology to where, now they're out lending out drones to give to thingy man, to Russia to use in like the Ukraine conflict. Because what does it say? Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. You know, and that's how Esau's different empires have operated. You know, even from the time of the Greeks and the Romans, that amassing of all these different nations together into a melting pot and making them as one. That's what uh, what Antiochus um, was getting down with, and that's what was going down in Rome. The whole aspect of being a citizen of Rome, and then Hellenes as well, basically, and in the modern age, it's the same thing now. Being an American and European, whatever. Like you can come from these different what do you call it? You can come in yeah, into an American and European, even if you're from a different nation, as long as you conduct yourself the same way, those Americans, Germans, Italianos, Brits too, the Franceses. The that's kind of how how it goes down. It says, "What shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his." And yeah, why are all these nations having to come to Esau's lands anyway? It's because why they've been conquered. They've been, had Esau come in, take all their goods, all their resources, give them a trade deal, where it's basically, like what happened with China when they didn't want to give goods to the British, man. Man just snatched Hong Kong and then said, "Yeah, trade with us." That's been Esau's MO, and that's why all these nations have a bone to pick. They have reasons why they feel justified in being against Esau. They are justified because why? How's he conducted himself to set himself up? Because there's what shall not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Yeah, and everyone's gonna be looking to get a piece, man. Everyone's gonna be looking to make merchandise, and get a slice of that America. Then the spirit's gonna be put on them, to burn America as well. They're gonna be looking to lace it with fire, because why? It's and that's why you have even after they see it burning, they're gonna be lamentating for all the wealth, the lifestyle that afforded them. But then what? It's about the spirit. The Lord's basically gonna put the spirit on them to lace it, because we'll say, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Yeah, in recent history, the kind of key focal point of that is the Middle East, man. From what do you call it? The key focal point of it has been the Middle East, really from Desert Storm onwards. As soon as it cooled down with the Soviets, then the next for the military industrial complex to live, they went into the Middle East and started getting mired in there, and that's kind of been the big push since. And it's all money, investments, oil, resources, all these things. Read this, Jeremiah 50:9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, so against Babylon, the assembly of nations is going to be prepped. And then what? It says it'll be a spoil. And that's the thing is the role has been set for America, man, for Babylon the Great. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of mine heritage, because you are grown fat as a heifer at grass, and bellow at bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And yeah, all the, the variety of landscapes and all the desolate places that have been built up. All these things that, mark America, where people are looking like, ooh, you know, bedazzled, shining stars in their eyes, drooling, witnessing it. All that's going to be gone. It's just going to be, it's going to be a fire, and then a smoke, and then a desert. It says what? Because of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her. And yeah, that's the real. The real is, is Babylon's just, it's going to be ganged up on and desolated, really. Yeah, ganged up on and desolated. And, these guys putting these, what do you call it? Alliances that support these nations supporting one another, doing it. Why? For the sake of prophecy, man. Because they're preparing to come against America. America's the key enemy. And Trump has basically accelerated that mindset in general. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.